Foundations of Astrology of Relationships. And this first part of the foundational course, I will talk about the 12 signs, and I'm making it not a video introduction, I'm making it more of a spoken voice introduction because I want to show you some pictures. And for the second part of the foundations, we'll proceed with the video so I can demonstrate you how to work with the information that I give you now. But the information which I'll present you in the next hour or a bit longer will be such which everyone who studies astrology should know. It's about the signs, it's about the planets, it's about the zodiac, and I will talk, maybe for some of you this section might not be so interesting. Some of you who knows this foundation might want to skip it, but I will speak about the 12 signs in regards to relationships in particular, and I'll speak about the modalities of the signs and the meanings of the planets in regards to relationships. So maybe even if you know the foundation of astrology already, you might want to listen to this audio, to this video as well. So the manual, the foundation manual, starts with description of the planets. And I will not read them out to you here, but when we need those planets, we'll get back to this part of the manual. So when we're using techniques, including the planets, we can come back to them and we can use them. But we'll start with breakdown of the zodiac sign. This is the ecliptic where all the planets are moving, the 7 visible planets, the sun, the moon, and this is where basically all the 12 signs are situated, and this is tropical zodiac. It's not dependent on the stars like Vedic astrology. It uses sidereal zodiac, which is based on the 12 constellations of the sign. But in the West and from time immemorial, the tropical zodiac was based on the path, the relationship between the sun and the earth. It's basically the relationship between it's basically the equinoxes, the spring and autumn equinoxes, and the summer and winter solstices. It's based on this, basically the 12 signs are based on these points when the sun starts changing its direction. It starts going more north or it starts going more south, so this is why the 12 signs it's not even seasonal. They are connected to the equinoctial and to the points of the sun and the relationship between the sun and the earth. So let's speak first. Let's start with the 12 signs. You can see the signs have genders. This is the easiest qualifications. The signs are separated in female signs and in male signs, or masculine and feminine signs. And it's very close to the mind that people who have relationship planets, or the sun, moon, ascendant, the 3 pillars of the horoscope, which we'll talk about a bit later, if they have them in masculine signs like Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, they would have a bit more of a masculine approach in their life overall. And what is the masculine energy? The masculine energy initiates action. Is the one which basically respond in their relationship more from their head than their feelings. When something happens, they start thinking, why is this happening? They're not going to burst out immediately emotionally. They would logically analyze it. This is the masculine side. It's more rational. And they're positive. They like to pursue. Positive means initiative, They like to pursue and to lead the way. That's why in relationship, people who have more masculine signs, even if they're women, but say a woman with ascendant and moon in Libra and in Aries, for example, Leo and Sagittarius, they will even though they're women, they might be the ones who send the signal. They might be the ones when the relationship gets hard, and there are difficulties that they try to sort them out, that they try to initiate the conversation. And a man with masculine signs is natural, because this is the roles that naturally society gives us. A man will feel more masculine when he has predominance of masculine signs, because he'll be the one who pursues the woman when he likes her. He would initiate the next action. He would masculine signs, they feel much happier when they do rather than when they're being. And they feel good, and they feel good when they do something. Basically, when they're achieving something, they must be doing well for them to feel good. And that's why masculine signs, if things are not going well, people with masculine signs, whether it's women or men, when things are not going well, they should go and do something about it. They should, for example, they're not feeling good about themselves, their image, or they had a breakup in relationships and they have mostly a lot of strong masculine energy in their horoscope. Maybe they should go and start working out. Maybe they should go out and see friends. Maybe they should go out and, maybe get in touch with old boyfriends or girlfriends, or they have a heartbreak or they had arguments with their partner, go out for a walk and then come back, and they would initiate the come back together with their partner. They would initiate the, peace between the partnership. So this is when you see someone, a masculine person, when things get tough, they're the ones who try to make things happen, to improve on those things. And this is great role when the man has more masculine signs, because this is naturally, what men do. And what women expect when you have a breakup, when you have an argument, women expect that the man will be the one who tries to pursue them and tell them, I'm sorry, let's try and work things out and maybe bring them a present. But if it's a woman who has those masculine signs, should very often there is a problem in the relationship and feels restless, and she cannot feel happy until she does something about it. So she goes and writes him an email, or she goes and goes to his work to talk to him, or something like that. So, and like this, when the roles are reversed, this is the woman that does not play so much the natural role in her life. So it might be a little bit more stressful for her. And you know how everyone tells you, if a man likes you, he'll call you, he'll find a way to be with you, so don't call him. Well, if the man has a lot of masculine signs and is strongly masculine, he will do that. But if the man has less masculine sign, and if the woman has a lot of masculine signs, should be the one who goes and pursues the man, should not feel happy and relaxed enough until she does this, until she does something, proactive, initiate something. In the best case scenario for such women with more masculine signs, which is a bit harder for women with masculine signs because they always have to do something, I would advise them, maybe instead of going and chasing the guy, trying to push too hard to make the relationship happen, because sometimes it's counterproductive when the woman does it, because they basically, every other man, all men are also naturally masculine because they have masculine body, even though if they have feminine energy in them more, like planets. They're naturally men, and if a woman starts pursuing them all the time, this kind of repulses them. Plus and plus repulse each other. So in such women who have more masculine sign, I would advise them to be, when they have to do something, they're not feeling good, and they have more masculine energy, they have to do something. Go instead and work out. Go instead and see some friends, or throw yourself into a career. Masculine signs are achievement-oriented, career-oriented, or in some projects of yours. I remember every time I had my heart broken, this would be being very masculine. I have my sun, ascendant, and moon, all the important three, positions, which we're going to talk about later. I have them in masculine signs. And at the beginning, I used to, write emails and get upset and try and talk with the guy, and, it would backfire. Plus repulses with plus. A masculine woman with plus signs, with masculine signs, going to a man who is naturally masculine, even if he has feminine sign. A man, if he's with male body, he has at least 50 or 51%, more masculinity in him overall. So it kind of tends to repel the man. So I throw myself into work, and this when I would achieve a lot of success, and you'd often see a lot of women with masculine signs who are very successful in career, especially when their love life is not working well, But naturally, men who have masculine signs, they have the upper hand. They're more initiatives. They're more. They do the right steps usually. They go and pursue the woman. If you are with a man who has more masculine signs, say the ascendant in Aries and the sun in say Gemini or Libra or Aquarius, or one of those 6 masculine signs. In most cases, you can expect that if he loves you, he'll be the one who makes the next step, unless he has afflictions, powerful afflictions, which we will talk in the second part, which is not the foundational course, which is the second part of this course when we talk about the capacity to be happy in relationship. If Mars, even if he has mostly masculine signs, has afflictions in those signs, which we'll talk about later, he would react in the wrong way. He would react in the way which is not very masculine. He would react either through aggression or either through, hurting you in some way, or by vengeance sometimes, and vindictiveness, or withdrawing. And the masculine positive energy is always proactive. If the masculine energy wants something, it goes and gets it. So this is the first part. So this is the masculine signs. And what about if you have feminine signs? The feminine signs, the water and earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, the earth signs, the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Well, the feminine signs are receptive. They respond in relationships more to their emotions than to their intellect. So when something goes wrong, say, and naturally women are more feminine, they have more feminine energy, they're the minus. If you're a woman, if you have a female sexual organs, a female body, you're naturally more charged negatively. But if you're a woman with a lot of masculine signs, you'd have more masculinity in you, but still you'd be more femininely charged overall because your body is feminine. But let's talk women, for instance, who have say sun in a feminine sign, moon in a feminine sign, ascendant in a feminine sign, or just 2 of those, the moon and the ascendant in a feminine sign. They'll behave more like the typical stereotype of a woman. Should be the one who allows the man to pursue her. Should be the one who allows the man, to take the first step. And the feminine sign are gentle signs. The masculine are a bit more, strong signs. They go after you. The feminine are the ones, that are sweet. They're gentle signs. The masculine signs are also called cruel signs. Cruels because they would initiate action, and sometimes they can, step on you and hurt you. Feminine signs, they would be, sweet. They would be kind, unless there is an affliction in those signs on the sun or the ascendant or the moon, about which we'll talk later. But generally speaking, feminine energy is more sweet, more yielding. When the going gets tough in relationships, or there is like some hiccup in relationships, the feminine signs get hurt emotionally, and they would withdraw. They would not go and try and face you and say, okay, let's resolve it now. What are we going to do about it? This is more the masculine sign activity. The feminine sign would withdraw, and they would, they would try and feel better first before they do something about it. Because they're very much in touch with their feelings and with their needs, and they try to make sure that they soothe first their emotional needs, that they feel happier, and also, they feel happiest when they're being versus when they're doing. So when there is a hiccup in the relationship, they would withdraw, they try to heal themselves. If you've heard them, their feelings, they would withdraw till they feel better about themselves, and they would not make the action, they would not make the approach to try and solve the problem. And in order for them to do well in relationships, they must feel good. So if you've heard them, or if the relationship's been painful to them in some way, or if the person is, sending them mixed signals, so they're not sure, they do not feel, they do not feel very secure, they'll not make the first approach. And say, this is good if it's a woman, this is the natural thing. A woman should not go, this is, preconceived ideas, but this is more natural for a woman not to go chasing after a guy. A woman feels much better if a guy comes out to her, chases her, makes the first steps. Or when there is difficulties in the relationship, he's the one who initiates. He's the one who tries to, the negative signs are the ones that say no. So when, for example, people who are more negative with more negative signs, more feminine signs, when things go bad, they withdraw, they say no. They say, I'm going away, but in order for the relationship to work, the more masculine sign person should go after them. Otherwise, if both people are negatively charged, they'll both retreat, and what happens? Like there is like a blockage. No one makes an approach. So usually, if you have a woman with more feminine signs, they need to be with men with more masculine signs in their horoscope. So when the woman withdraws, when she's hurt, the man can go after her to sort out the things and make her feel better, because she will not make the first step or initiate action until she feels good. But imagine if a man has mostly feminine signs. Well, that's a little bit of a problem, because women naturally are conditioned by society, and because they're naturally more negatively charged, more femininely charged, for them to withdraw. So say a problem happens and the man withdraws and the woman also stays away, so there is a problem. So such men who are who have more feminine planets, who have, say, the sun in Scorpio, the moon in Pisces, the ascendant in Virgo, or even even if they have just their sun, because the sun is so important in the man's horoscope for relationships, say the sun in Capricorn, and the ascendant, say, in Pisces, both two of the three important elements, if the man has in negative signs and feminine signs, he usually tends to attract more masculine sign women. Because if he attracts a feminine sign woman, this woman will stay away. When the going gets tough, she also gets hurt. She gets emotional. She withdraws till she feels good. But the man also withdraws till he feels good. And it's very hard to make things work like this. Or the woman, feminine charged woman with feminine signs, expects the man to pursue her. And the man with feminine signs would not make the first step until he feels extremely sure about it. But the feminine sign woman would not usually send such direct impulses. Should hint at it, should hint when she liked someone, but should not go directly at it like a masculine sign woman. And I can give you an example. For example, George Clooney is exclusively femininely made man. His sun is in Taurus, his ascendant is in Pisces, his moon is in Capricorn, and he's born during the night, which is again a more feminine part. When a person is born during the night, if he is a man, he becomes more receptive, more femininely charged, and he has all his planets in feminine signs. So you see, he's finally got married now, but at the age of 50, and guess what? The woman that he got married to is mostly made of masculine signs. I forgot the name of this lawyer lady, but she's like a very successful, very proactive person. You can see it in her life. She's a successful lawyer. She leads battles. She's outgoing, and her horoscope is exclusively, I think mostly, her ascendant, her moon, her sun as well, were made out of masculine signs. So at least these two polarities are working well together. They kind of reverse their roles. We don't know how long it's going to last, but of course he needed, it took him probably going through many relationships. If sometimes he would be attracted, if he was in relationships with women who are more typically feminine, with more feminine signs, when the going get tough, they would withdraw, but if he got upset, he would withdraw and he would not make the next step. He would prefer to leave the relationship rather than fight for it like a masculine sign person would do. So things would probably, that's why it took him till 50, to get married. You can feel it. You can see it in men who have more feminine planets. You can feel their energy. They're not so. It doesn't mean they will not look masculine. Look at George Clooney. He's a hunk. He looks masculine, but it's the energy that he gives off. It's the behaviors that he does. And for example, let me give you a masculine woman example who has a lot of masculine energy. This is. Who is it? Kristen Stewart. Kirsten Stewart, the lady from Full Moon, whatever, the vampire movies, and she even dresses a little bit like that. And Robert Pattinson is her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, was extremely made out of feminine signs. Robert Pattinson has the moon and the ascendant in water, the sun in Taurus. It also extremely made out of feminine signs. So he attracted a woman who was made out of masculine signs because minus and minus cannot be together. So he attracted Kirsten Stewart, who was only made out of masculine sign. I think her moon, ascendant, and Venus were her moon, ascendant, and Sun, were all made of the masculine sign, so that's why they could work together, but the roles were reversed. And sooner or later, even a masculine woman would like a guy who takes the initiative, who is the one, who takes the first step. Maybe she was even the one who seduced him, And Angelina Jolie, for example, is also strongly masculine. Her moon is in Aries, her sun is in Gemini. And she has 2-3 other planets in masculine signs. She has ascendant in water signs, so she knows how to be a bit more magnetic. But very likely, she must have been one who also initiated, who showed, who would go after the man, she would not back down even. This is what more masculine signs do. But most naturally, if a man is more masculine, he would play the more natural role that society expects from him, going after the woman, doing when things get hard, doing things, and the woman, if she has more feminine sign, it will be easier for her because she would be the one, it would be easier for her to attract more masculine men, let's say, with masculine signs. But doesn't matter. Humans are diverse. Often someone would have a mixture of masculine and feminine signs, would be half-half, and nothing is ever too black and white, except in extreme cases like I gave you with, examples with those two couples where they kind of had reverse roles. But just naturally expect that women who are with more masculine signs, they'll be a little bit more, initiative. They'll be the ones who go and do things for the relationships, which sometimes, because men naturally bond when they do things for women, and women naturally bond when they receive the things men do for them. And that's why this reversal of role can be a bit more painful. But I'm all masculine signs, so, you learn to live with it. This is why the universe is diverse, and that's why it's interesting. And I know when I like someone, I let them know. They know for sure that I like them. If I miss someone, I would go and write to them. I might stifle it for a year or two or be sad, but eventually I'll, get in touch with the man. And if I get rejected, okay, I'll learn my lesson, I get away. But I would not wait for years, hoping that maybe he likes me, but he's not showing it, I go after it, and women with more feminine signs, they would be the ones who are more receptive and who need to feel good, and who for them, they withdraw into their feelings. So this is about masculine and feminine signs. Next, we will look at the gender of the elements of the signs.